do what I do.
So people was questioning what is going on with Essence Fest. Why were the numbers low this year? Why didn't it feel the same as we are used to Essence Fest feeling? You know, Essence Fest is pro-black, black excellence, black American excellence. You know, you can find the best American black vendors at Essence. You can find some great shopping from black fashion designers from Essence. You know, we go to New Orleans because that's the black experience for Essence magazine. But did you know that Essence sold its entities to a guy from Lagos, Africa? Did you know that the Essence CEO is a Kenyan woman, Mrs. Wanga? Yeah, I discovered all this yesterday listening to Tabitha Talks Politics. Shout out to you, Tabitha. It's funny how people come to come to America, and they see our culture, the black American culture. It was created by black Americans in America. So for you to have an African CEO and an African owner for the Blackest Festival in America takeover, because that's what it is, it's a takeover. They want to have Nigeria be the foundational African country for black culture. They just said black culture, not black American culture. They just said black culture. And the foundation, or the new black experience, is from Africa. So yeah, that's why Stephanie Mills wrote that letter. That's why you saw such an African presence at Essence Festival. That's why the air was different, because everything about Essence Fest is now different. I don't know why people from other countries or other races think it's cool to come to America and just exploit our black culture. Our black culture is ours. Can't no other country, can't no other race do it how black Americans do it. We created the aura of the Essence Festival. We created the spirit of Essence Fest because we're black in America. It was for us, by us, to be entertained by us. So the fact that y'all would let this African CEO, African owner come in and just swoop on one of our biggest black enterprises, it's kind of sad to me. So no, I will no longer be supporting Essence magazine and everything that they stand for, because everything that they stand for is now African. Yeah. Black Americans, we cannot keep selling ourselves. Every time somebody say, yeah, I'll buy your company, think about the motive behind the purchase. Follow the money. I can't believe Essence even sold their enterprise. But this is America. Capitalism at its finest. Somebody's got a price. Somebody got a price. All right, y'all. On that note, I just wanted y'all to have the information. Do with it as you please. Please Google the changes under Essence, because I might not have all the facts right, but I got the gist of it right. All right, y'all. On that note, I'm out of here. Peace.
A lot of people are coming for the neck of the woman behind me, and before you march her to the chopping block and come for her neck and her job, I think that you should know more about her. Her name is Carolyn Wanga, and she is the CEO of Essence Enterprise. Let's talk about it. Carolyn was born in Kenya and raised in Minnesota, and became a single mom at the age of 17 years old. However, she did not let that stop her. She started her career in HR and climbed the ranks as Target's Chief Diversity Officer, and is now at the helm of the most iconic platform for Black women, Essence. This year's Essence Festival has been surrounded by controversy, and many people are blaming Caroline, as well as the owner of Essence Enterprise, Richelo Dennis, who is of Liberian descent. Attendees this year felt that Essence lacked the essence of the African-American experience, and felt that it had more of an African tone, and a lot of people did not appreciate it. From the Jollof to the Jambalaya cook-off to the absence of well-known local vendors, people were not happy with this year's Essence Festival. In addition to that, they felt like the production value of the performances were off. Well-known artist who is known to be late quite a bit, Lauryn Hill, did not perform one evening until 4 a.m. in the morning. Now, we all know that Miss Lauryn is typically late. However, this year it has been cited that it was not her fault and that she was waiting for production issues to be fixed. In addition, Stephanie Mills just released a letter stating her displeasure with how the production value went with this year's Essence Festival. So I want to hear from those who have actually attended Essence Festival either this year or in the past. Does Essence still feel like ours? And is there anything wrong with Essence being really focused not just on the African-American experience, but on the experience of Black people worldwide? What are your opinions on that? Get down in the comments and let me know.
Africans ruin Essence Fest. You would think you walked around and you just heard Jerusalem, Ikayanami. He no gonna say no. You would think you walked around and everybody was like, baby, come down, come down. That's not what happened. Every corner you turned, you heard what them fans say, which is a traditionally African-American tribulation song. Let me tell you something. When it comes to Diaspora Wars, I do believe Africans be lying. But even more, African-Americans be lying as well. Because everybody wants to drive their own narrative. So people make up stuff and say whatever they can to sell the point across. Sometimes, most of the time, it ain't true. Not even sometimes. What am I talking about? Like, oh, African-Americans ain't got no culture. Oh, like, oh, Africans trying to take over our spaces. Not the case. Africans were to be, if Africans were to be present at your festival, trust me, you will know. There will be the smell of suya in the air. Uncles all around the area. Burna Boy and Davido would have been a headliner. It would have been insane. I was there, and my experience was once again enjoying and celebrating and reveling in all the beauty that is Black American culture. The food, the dances, the music. I never for 1 second thought, man, Africans finally took us over. Never. A festival that starts to decline, and rather than us talk about the logistics or things that we could do to make things better, the technicalities, where did we go wrong? You know, was it sponsorships? Was it the economy? Was it the rollback on DEI programs? None of that. The first thing we could think of, an African bought it. And no offense to Rich, but if you've ever heard Richelieu Dennis talk, he's not even that. He's not even the African that you're thinking about. He's for the most part a lot more American than he is. Like, he's not like, you know, like the way it described it, you made it sound like Patrice Lumumba. Somebody with that kind of name came and took over your business, just came straight from the continent and took over. That's not what happened. And we're not even, and up until now, for the most part, these are the people that have organized Essence Fest. This is what they look like. I don't think anybody has had any complaints for the most part. I don't think it was divisive when they were in control. I don't think there was any narratives being told. But for some reason, when anything seems to go wrong, we start to point fingers and look at each other and start to blame ourselves. And I hate to say this, and those of you who know, those Africans who know, guess what? Africans do this for their own festivals too. When it comes to Afrochella, when it comes to Afrofuture, now the current name, people will make all this commentary about what Afrofuture is and what it isn't. Rather than celebrating the progress of such a undertaking of such a great venture in the diaspora, rather than complimenting it, the first thing we do is break it down and criticize. A people that are doing more with less. A people that are doing more with less on both sides. And the first thing we can think is this is the time to be over analytical and critical. Listen, I'm all for being over analytical and critical. I love it when it comes to film, when it comes to art, because I think artistic integrity is important. It is important for us to be to have integrity every single time we put our voice out there, we put paint to paper, and every time we sing, we create or convey a message. In this particular case, though, for a festival that's an experience that's bringing people together, that is not the time or the place. I'm just saying. nobody took over anything. Nobody was planning to take over anything, and nobody was trying to do evil in anything. They were trying their best with the little that they had. Anybody that you know that is in any way in the back end of this operation tried their best. The last minute rollout of the main act could not possibly have been blamed on one woman who happens to be the CEO. Because for some reason, all of this protect black women went out the window as soon as this whole Africans ruined Essence Fest narrative started. And by a lot of people who weren't even there. They said, I passed upon it, but I'm gonna say as much as possible to make sure that Essence Fest feels my fury and my anger. Then there were the people that were coming for influencers. And I just said, like, man, everybody is just... It's a sad state of affairs. Because if you were there, you know the truth. You know that that was farthest. Talking about they had a jollof and jambalaya. Like, what? What? That is the reason? I remember I asked somebody, I had a whole conversation with somebody, and I asked them, what exactly did they take over? They said some people were hosting their own bookshop event or whatever during Essence Fest. And I said, the little bookshop? A little bookshop, whether African-American, African, or French, even Scandinavian, a little bookshop is the reason that Essence Fest had issues this year. We're grasping at straws, and it's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I got nothing else to say. But it's all lies. Most people, I'm not saying it's all lies. I'm not saying like there isn't an evident, decline in what Essence Fest used to be, evidently. But saying that the reason is because an African invested in it or bought it, and because there's an African woman as a CEO, it's just not true. And this narrative that you guys are trying to sell is dangerous. But get your clicks, get your likes, get your engagements. Do what you got to do. Just know that it's not worth it in the end. It's just not. It's not fulfilling to sell out your people with ideologies that are rooted in bitterness or envy. It's just not. But that's my 2 cents. You can get mad at me if you want. That's just my 2.
The Essence Festival kind of flopped this year, and I think I know why. I'm going to give you guys a little backstory. So, 8 years ago, there was an Liberian immigrant. His name is Richelieu. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Dennis. So years ago, he came to the United States to go to school, to go to college. And 8 years ago, he took over the Essence empire. I believe Shea Moisture as well. And eventually, he amassed a $400 million empire, beauty empire. Now, in 2020, some anonymous employees at Essence, they accused him of abuse of power, bullying, and sexual harassment. So now, after that happened, he appointed a woman by the name of Caroline Wanga. She was an immigrant from Kenya, and she was over the Essence Festival, the CEO of the Essence Ventures, Caroline Wanga. So I'm saying this to say, I believe the Essence Festival flopped this year because it seems like Africans from the continent, not all, are coming here and utilizing Black Americans' money, resources, culture, but yet disregarding us. Essence was started by Black Americans. I believe it was 1968, I think? And it seems like some of the Africans from the continent are coming over and reaping the benefits and just getting rid of the Black Americans. So, I don't know. I mean, with all the racism and bigotry in this country, it seems like people from the continent, they're acting up. But a lot of them have been acting up for years, though. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about it? Do you think that's what they're doing? I don't know. Let me know down in the comments, guys. I'll talk to you later today.
Y'all, I came across too many videos yesterday about the Essence Fest supposedly now being too Africanized. As an African woman, specifically from Liberia, I wanted to take a few moments to add to this discourse. Okay, so Essence was purchased a couple of years ago by Rich Lou Dennis, who also happens to be a Liberian man. And supposedly now the current CEO is Kenyan. And supposedly this particular Essence Festival, which I actually wanted to attend, but unfortunately because of some personal reasons I couldn't attend. But supposedly there was just too many things that were happening that were geared mostly towards the African culture and took away from the American or African-American culture. I mean, to a certain extent, I get it that, you know, we don't want to lose African-American culture within Essence Fest. And I mean, I wasn't there to experience any of it, but I also did see some videos that show that people had a great time. People had fun. So I don't know where all of the negative energy is coming from, but I'm just saying though, like, I don't think we should be fighting amongst ourselves. I think this is a good discussion to have. I don't think any culture should be put down or stomped or beat on, because I think that's what's kind of like happening. And I'm speaking from an African person's perspective. That's what it's starting to feel like. And I mean, there's so much rich history to our two cultures that I think it's nice to be able to give space and to have a really fruitful discussion about this instead of putting one culture down. And I agree, like, we don't want to lose the essence of Essence Fest. We don't want to take over the African-American culture. You know, I get that, but I think it could have been portrayed in a more respectable way, because I've just been seeing a lot of disrespectful comments, and I just don't think it's right, especially considering the fact that we all, being Black people in this country, we face some of the same challenges. And for a space so beautiful as the Essence Fest to be going through this discourse, I don't think it's right. I really hope that some of the bigger creators, because sometimes folks don't want to be listening to us small creators, but I really hope that there is some productive conversations that come up out of this, because what I've been seeing, nah, it ain't it. It ain't it.
African Americans versus Africans at the Essence Fest. Boy, niggas, man. Y'all really sitting on this TikTok, basically having a battle with people that look just like you. They said an African bought Essence and you mad, but an African wouldn't be able to buy Essence. You niggas would have bought it yourself. And let me correct that, man. I don't like the word nigga, man. But when niggas be niggaing, hate niggas. But we literally all the same, man. We all have different cultures. Y'all know Africa's a continent too, so like, when y'all just say Africans, that's kind of disrespectful. Nah, but for real, man, you know how stupid we look on this white man's internet arguing about African-American and African and all that, and it's like, boy, it seems like we ain't gonna never get it, because we always gonna find something to fight each other over. It's a music festival, y'all. Shout out to Ibrahim Toure, Burkina Faso.
The funniest thing about this, not funny in a bad way, is that there's a lot of remarks about Essence and how they need a Black, specifically Black American woman at the helm again because it's gotten diluted. But Susan Taylor is not Black American. Susan Taylor is of Caribbean descent. Her parents are from Trinidad and St. Kitts, and she was able to create a beautiful legacy at Essence magazine that very much centered African American women. And I don't know by name who's over there right now, but I know that Essence Communications was bought by someone who is of African descent. I mean, we're all from African descent, but like, you know what I mean? Like, they are like African, not necessarily African-American. And I think there's a new editor-in-chief who is Kenyan, I want to say. Everybody feels like the Black American aspect of Essence Fest is missing and it's become diluted. And you guys have things like the Jambalaya versus Jollof contest, and then not asking previous local NO vendors to come back for the festival, which is another big part of why people go, so they can support local Black business. And all of that definitely misses the mark, but it's not because there's not a Black, and by Black I mean African American woman at the helm of Essence, because Susan Taylor wasn't a Black American. She just had the respect and reverence for understanding that the core audience of Essence are people who identify as AA. And unfortunately, it definitely doesn't help that the whole company has been bought by people who are not AA, and they feel, whether consciously or subconsciously, like their culture should be part of the umbrella of what makes Essence Fest, which brings about a whole different conversation about the different nuances across the diaspora and how Black people subconsciously feel the need to funnel ourselves into one space all the time. And if you don't see your kind of Black represented here, then we've missed the mark, when it could just be, hey, let's make more events for different types of Black people. Like, this is supposed to be historically an African American event. If you want to do something specific to the African part of Black people's whole lineage worldwide, then you do that separately from this, but you don't take this, co-opt it, turn it into something else, and then neglect to cater to the people who've been here for like 30 years. So it's a whole long conversation that we could definitely get into, but it's definitely not because there's no Black American who's in charge at Essence.
Y'all want to talk about Essence? Okay, let's get into it because I'm so tired. You hear my voice. I just got back. Baby, knowing that Essence is really for grown people, why does every goddamn thing have to be so late at night? But we'll talk about that later. Okay, where are we going to start? Let's start with the music. I only went to the concert on Sunday night. 10 out of 10. 2 thumbs up. Very good products. BeautyCon, do better. Convention Center, too loud. Partnerships, brands, and sponsorships. Target, why were you there? Target being there was like the friend you fell out with, but then they roll up to your birthday party. Girl, we don't talk. Why are you here? You're not invited. But I'm sure they paid money, and you have to have money to run Essence Fest because so many of the components are free, not the VIP and all that extra stuff that all the other people go to. But still, did y'all not hear that we're boycotting Target? But that's okay, Essence. I know. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. The people. I'm going to give the people a 5 because half of y'all were 10s. Just wonderful, beautiful, amazing. And then the other half, I work in beauty. So I was working with a brand, okay? And we had an installation, and we were, and this is a big brand, a very big brand, an international brand. Don't walk up to me with your bag open. This is not trick or treat. Do not walk up to me with your bag open. Don't do it, sis, sir. Really, no sirs really did it. It was really the sisters. And I get it. There's a lot of free things being given away. But this is not Snap. This is not, it's Wick. Anyway, I digress. Let me move on. So the people, a 5. The celebs, and I don't even talk about the influencers because I don't really know those people. In our area, they went crazy for Drewski. I didn't even know who Drewski was. Like, I know I feel my age right now. But overall, everybody that I came across or met or had the opportunity to shake hands with, 10 out of 10 kind, 10 out of 10 nice, 10 out of 10 gorgeous, beautiful, sweet, kind. The vibe, a hug for my soul. It was everything that I didn't even know I needed. The concerts start earlier. you're dealing with people at least over 30. Now, I know there were some younger people, and Friday night, Glorilla was part of the lineup, but every night, from what I understand, the concert started late. Last night, Sunday night, we went. First of all, it was amazing. It was amazing. I haven't had that much fun in a long time. But why do we have acts just coming on at 1 a.m.? That's the morning. So I don't know, Essence, if we're going to have to start this thing at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if it's going to have to be a supper or a brunch or a midday concert in the afternoon. But we cannot, speaking from the delegation of your audience, the 35s and up and up and upward of that, you cannot have us outside like that until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, because all of us have things to do the next day. Okay? That was disrespectful. You're very unserious with that. Okay? But we were feeling it and we had a good time, baby. I danced my gel polish off. And the last thing I'll say about Essence, just list some of the things I've been reading and seeing. I think that with our influencer environment, with the social media environment, that's a really kind of new phenomenon. Back in the day, everybody partied together. Of course, there's always going to be VIP and private stuff. But with the onset of influencer culture, and nothing against influencers and content creators. I mean, I'm here basically creating content. It's an outlet for me. But this feeling that they are such stars and just deserve everything and, you know, can't be with the GP, the general public. Let me tell you, on Friday, they were so disorganized. Me, my colleague, and Miss Quad, yes, Miss Quad, we're standing there together talking, trying to figure out why they wouldn't let us in. Because they really didn't even know what they were doing. They were just trying to get it together, and that was Friday. The line outside was wrapped around the building. This is at 9 o'clock. It didn't even open until 10. The convention center food. I paid $45 for lunch on Friday for a plate with salmon and rice. Now, was it good? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was very, very good. It was very good. But $50 for a lunch inside the convention center that's served in a styrofoam? That's what we're doing in here? Okay. That's why they had to have Target up in there. Oh my God. I just love the love of Essence. It's been a long time since I gone in. It just was everything I needed, y'all. Oh my God. I love us. No matter what they try to say about us, no matter how bad they talk about us, no matter if they disparage us, call us every name in the book, we know how to love on each other and we know how to have a good old time, okay? I really hope that they'll better organize BeautyCon. They need to have, if they're going to do a VIP, it needs to really provide value. They need to almost do it like a fast pass situation. Call Walt Disney, because baby, that fast pass works. And there needs to be a different level of gift for people that are going to pay to enter the event. But yeah, I'm sure I forgot something, but until next year.
Oh, so she told me we need to stop complaining and we need to add to the festival. The African-American culture need to be added into the festival, the diaspora, the African diaspora festival. We need to stop complaining and join with them. Join with you? What? Okay, yes, I get it. They bought it, but you literally took the Essence Fest that was built from Black culture, African-American culture, to build what you have right now. What? But you want us to come back and add. You pushed aside the African-American culture and then you want us to tap dance back in.
That's a good joke, ain't it? Fuck out my motherfucking face. Ain't shit funny right now. I could tear down a fucking building.
Will not vibe or gel well with it because now it's okay. So hear me out. As I'm sitting there thinking about the Essence Fest and all of the feedback that it's suddenly getting this year, I've never been to an Essence Fest, so I don't know what the change is or what's gradually went downhill since they've started. But I do know that this is now another black space that is now compromised and will lose a sense or idea or a form of community because now it's being marred with their negative reputation. And I'm starting to wonder, are some of these people who are ended up in some of these positions of black organizations, such as Black Lives Matter or Essence Fest, or just, again, many of the, even like, again, when I lived in LA, the Gathering Spot, like, I really wonder if some of these spaces unintentionally or intentionally get filtered by people who look like us, but are actually there to disintegrate it, to actually break it apart, to actually cause enough dissension or do some of these corporate things that they know will not vibe or gel well with the community to cause it to actually fail, and it cause us to not actually have another place or a sacred space of community or a meeting or of gathering. I've noticed every single time, even with the Carnival Cruise that's going on right now, with all those changes they're implementing, it's just these weird thing where they're going to do everything they can to ensure that we do not have any gathering, any community, anything that really is bringing us together. So it's really, I'm super disappointed to hear this because I've always wanted to go to Essence Fest, but it's kind of crazy to hear some of the feedback that's happening now. But I'm also not surprised because it is seriously amazing to me. I feel like every single thing, especially these past few years, they've been sabotaged either by us and our own doing, you know, how we do sometimes. But a lot of times I don't feel like it's always or often us. I feel like there's something else that's been really interesting kind of happening. But again, I could be conspiracy theorist sometimes, so maybe that might be me. But I don't know, just thinking about it. Okay, so hear me out. As I'm sitting there thinking about the Essence Fest and all of the feedback that it's suddenly getting this year, I've never been to an Essence Fest, so I don't know what the change is or what's gradually went.
As a New Yorker, I've noticed a fewer black Americans around. I heard many have moved down to the Carolinas, sometimes even Georgia or Florida. But damn, I don't be seeing my people, hearing them. I don't know what happened to y'all.
Essence, count your goddamn days, I'm telling you. Let me tell you something. Y'all better be at the table right now. The board of directors, whoever in charge of Essence, I need y'all to get it together. Because this was not it. And I like Essence. I've been coming for a long time. But that concert last night, people not coming out till 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and knowing people got to catch a flight early this morning, it's crazy. Okay? Y'all gonna have to do better. Y'all gonna have to do more stuff for the kids. Because I'm telling you, y'all need to go back to the review, go back and review it, do whatever y'all gotta do. The microphones was off, all kind of stuff was going on, okay? Master P didn't even come out until like 12:30, which is crazy on a Sunday, considering some people have to go back to work on Monday morning. So I don't know what y'all need to do. The convention center was empty, half the vendors pulled out. Y'all need to work some out. Y'all need to do some serious talking between now and next year, because y'all gonna start losing more and more money. But baby, let me tell you something. Let me give some flowers to Dougie Fresh and to Jermaine Dupri and LL and Slick Rick, because they did what they needed to do. But anyway, I'm gonna tell y'all about it, so I gotta go check out.
Why can't we let everyone in? Our border is not your mother. Mass deportations separate families. Well, so does baby mama culture. Mind you, y'all can leave together. Who's going to clean Trump's toilets? People with birth certificates. What did I see at the border? 50 Shades of Brown and a Diddy casting call. Refugees are fleeing communism? Actually, they're just bringing communism here. The process takes too long? Well, then tell people to stop swimming here and the process would be smoother. A wall isn't going to stop anything. Boundaries always help. Try it with your ex. No one is illegal on stolen land. Okay, little miss, swipe or no swiping.
Fest is whack and washed now because it's run by a bunch of Africans. There is no Black American culture that is reflected in Essence Fest anymore. Essence's CEO is an African. The chief, I don't know, one of their chief top level executives and officers is an African. The person that owns Essence Ventures is an African. So what used to be a celebration of Black American culture, the culture that is ours, the culture that we built from the ground up, the culture that Black Americans influenced the world through, has now been co-opted by some African diaspora, Pan-African, whatever, and a lot of Black people are just not feeling it. Now, I went to Essence Fest for the first time a couple of years ago. I think it was like Nicki Minaj, New Edition, and Janet Jackson were the headliners. It was absolutely incredible. It was a celebration of Black Americanness. There were Black people in and up and through it. It was a pure celebration of Black American culture and Black American heritage. But now that it's been co-opted by a bunch of Africans, it seems that nobody cares because they don't set culture for this world. We do. And until Essence Fest gets back to the Black Americans who created it and founded it and lead the culture, it will continue to fail with those Africans in charge.
Hey, that lady that run the Essence Fest now is a perfect example of what I mean when I say get them fucking Africans the fuck away from Black American shit. ASAP. That bitch out there doing stupid ass shit like Jollof versus Jambalaya. Bitch, why did you come here and start competing with us? Bitch want to be accepted by white people so goddamn bad that she came and started competing with her cousins. Fun and great. What the fuck is going on, bitch? And then she up there trying to give speeches to trick niggas and shit. Bitch, we know what you up to. You trying to get accepted by them white crowds, not us. Fun and great. Because what the fuck? Jollof versus Jambalaya? Bitch, why are we in competition with Africa? What the fuck?
Check him out. Now, why Zoe Poppy so mad? I'm going to tell you why his ass mad. He's mad because I'm a foundationally Black American from Miami who's claiming our lineage here in Florida. See what I'm saying? We're no longer letting these other groups of people blend in with us and saying that they're one with us when it comes down to our achievements, like our culture and our history. The Florida Seminoles had nothing to do with Haitians. Our culture, our hip-hop culture, our culture here in the United States has nothing to do with Haitians. And then when we start saying these things, you start seeing their reaction, how mad they get. And it's kind of like, why are you mad when you get to practice your own culture and your history and no one says nothing about it? Because when it's Haitian Flag Day, we don't say nothing, we rock out with y'all. When it's Haitian Independence Day, we don't say nothing, y'all start throwing them flags in our faces like we the ones who did something to you. Right, we don't say that, we let y'all rock out. You got a Haitian flag in your bio right now, jit. And you in the United States of America. No one says nothing, we let you rock out. So what's the problem when us Black Americans, when we start practicing these same tribalisms that y'all practice? What's the problem if we start bringing out our flags? Because we got flags too, we just don't wave it in y'all face. But what if we started? You gonna have an issue? And what the problem gonna be? Right, see the problem is they are doing what white people do. They practice tribalism and they gatekeep, and they got a problem when you do it. You're cool with a white person until you start talking about being pro-Black. Until you start talking about reparations and slavery, now y'all not cool no more. If you're not talking about no football or something entertaining, they don't want to talk to you about it. Same thing with these immigrants. You're cool with them until you start talking about things that only specifically apply to Black Americans, like reparations, our history and our culture, our achievements. Right, now they want to beef with you talking about some pull up to your edges. Jit, don't let us remind you that there's 40 million of us in the United States. From the West Coast, East Coast, down South, Chicago, Midwest, we got family all over. Don't let you be the reason we click up.
And before I get up out of here for the night, I'll leave you with this. You can go to sleep on it tonight and chew on it in the morning. I spoke about on my main page, TPS ending for Haitians. What that is the deportation protection for Haitians. They've deemed it that it's okay to go back. Not realizing that Haiti is still in a state of emergency. They just don't give a fuck. So to read my comment section, I expect that from anybody white, but reading my comment section and seeing people that's Black like the rest of us in the diaspora, good. They shouldn't be here. They shouldn't be. I will leave you with this. They don't care that you were born here and Haitians weren't. If they could round all of our black asses up and get us on a boat and get us the fuck out of here and make this country the way they wanted it since the beginning of time, all white, they would. Don't rejoice at somebody else's demise. There's a 4-year plan in place with this shit going on. It's foreign, black, and brown right now. Then they coming for y'all next. It's not gonna matter you were born here. They're going to do, when they're done discriminating against us, they're going to come for your ass next. The same thing that they've done since the beginning of time. Y'all have been bullied from day one in this motherfucking country, so you know what the fuck it's like. Why would you sit and rejoice for it happening to somebody else? You make me sick.
Bro, who thought that in 2025 I will be staying away and scouting out for the racist people, but also have to be scouting out for xenophobic people, man? That is, you can't win in this country. Like, you can't win in this country, bro. Because the things I'm hearing from this whole Essence Festival, bro, the FBA, they're out of their mind, bro. The African done took all their culture. They need to gatekeep it now. They need to lock it away in a case. Like, bro, y'all be sounding so childish, bro. And I know y'all gonna be coming out here because you guys are like MAGA. Y'all be just storming people comments. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling y'all, bro, that y'all doing is a motherfucking cult. Y'all know that, right? Because nobody said that y'all can be from America. But that whole xenophobic...
Some of us Africans are real hypocrites, and I say that as a Congolese woman born and raised in Germany, so I'm including myself too. What I want to say is that we need to be a bit more sensible to one another because it's not easy navigating spaces that were not built for us. This year, Essence Festival in NOLA went viral for many reasons, but what I want to speak about is this tension that came up because a lot of Black Americans felt like their space was being diluted and overshadowed by African influences. To me, this isn't about right or wrong. Hurtful things have been said on both sides, but they stem from rejection, and a lot of us Africans are the root of said rejection. For years we've mocked them, for years we've called them akata, we've told them that they don't know their roots, that they don't have culture, or made fun of them for not knowing where they're really from. Afro-Latinos versus Latinos, North Africans versus Sub-Saharan Africans, Africans living in the diaspora versus Africans living on the continent. It's always the same cycle of rejection, identity, pain. People just want to feel like they belong. People just want to feel understood. As a natural human response, when people feel they've been excluded for years, they're just going to create spaces that are exclusively built for them. And let's be honest, us Africans, we benefit a lot from Black American culture. We take from it all the time. Just look at me. The way that I speak, the way that I act, the way that I dress, the way that I do my hair, the way that I do my makeup. It's all been heavily influenced by Black American culture. The slang we use, the TikTok trends we follow, the dances, the music we listen to, a lot of that comes from them. So we can't keep benefiting from the culture and then get mad when the people, the originators of said culture is like, hey, this doesn't feel like it still belongs to us. And I also think it's important to remember from time to time that Black Americans are hundreds of years removed from the continent. They didn't leave voluntarily. They were taken by force, by slavery, through violence. So when some of them say that they don't feel like they're African American and they only feel Black American, can you really blame them? Controversial example, but take Donald Trump. His grandfather immigrated to the United States from Germany. That's only 2 generations removed. But you don't see Trump walking around identifying as a German American. He's just American because that's the country he grew up in and that's the culture that he knows. Same thing goes for a lot of Africans in the diaspora. When you ask them where they're from, they're going to first mention the country that they live in, the country that they were born in, before they say, oh, but my parents are from. So why do we expect people who are hundreds of years removed to have the same culture, the same values, the same upbringing, this strong tie to Africa? It doesn't make sense. Yes, some do try to reconnect and some are interested to visit what they call the motherland, but it's not by force. Don't get me wrong, I am a Pan-Africanist. I believe in Black unity. Just look at what we were capable in 2020. What happened globally around George Floyd showed us what unity can look like. In that moment, no one cared if he was Dominican, African-American, Black American, Ghanaian, Afro-German, Afro-Italian. That was a Black man. We all understood this could have been my father, my uncle, my neighbor. This could have been my brother. So how is it that 5 years later, this is where we end up? Like I said, I was born and raised in Germany, meaning that I grew up in predominantly white spaces. Went to predominantly white school, then later predominantly white private university. Yet I've always moved between cultures. So I'm very familiar to what it means to be too Black, not Black enough, not African enough, too African, depending on who I was around. So I understand that at the end of the day, we're all navigating identity crises. We just want to belong. We want to be seen, we want to be accepted, and we want to feel like what's ours is ours. Please, let's just be a bit more mindful of one another on both sides. If you're still with me right now and these kind of conversations matter to you, this is part of the stuff that I speak about on my podcast called the Soul Talks Club. It's a space that I created for people who share my story, but also struggle with identity from time to time, with mental health, with societal pressures, basically all the topics that are taboo in our communities. In summary, I don't agree with the divisiveness on each end. I understand the sentiment of Black Americans. I don't condone any of the hurtful things that any of the sides are throwing at each other. It's distracting from what actually matters. Let's be respectful to one another. Let's not expect of other people to act and think the same way that we do. We all have different influences. Our environments shape who we are as a person. Let's be open and let's stay respectful, yeah?
So y'all, ain't that sound crazy though? Imagine if somebody buy your house and then you going back and trying to tell them what to do with the house they bought. It ain't yours no more. That man know who he's servicing. You just didn't know. Still, I encourage you all to go and have close contacts with Blacks outside of your familiar experience. Those are your brothers and sisters, and you are connected for all times in the way that you walk, in the way that you talk. For 400 years, they couldn't beat the African out of you. But now they learn that with that bag, they can buy the African out of you. But if there's one takeaway, is that y'all need to stop expecting things to reflect you when the ownership does not reflect you.
And thinking we not going. Now y'all know I don't be in nobody business, but Essence Fest, we are not coming this year, next year, the year after, until y'all realize that we are Black Americans and we do got the money, baby. But y'all not gonna play in our face. We don't want fufu. We don't want jollof rice. We are not African. We are not Black Caribbeans. We are none of those things. We are Americans. We have our own food, our own culture, our own music. Stop playing with our top and thinking we not gonna show y'all something. We gonna show y'all. Now, if you don't get somebody Black up in there, you might as well cancel this shit because it's gonna be way more empty next year. We're not coming. We are not African. We're not finna cosplay as African. We do not care how anybody feel about it. This is our motherfucking country. That's our event, and y'all need to make it what it need to be. Bye, bitch.
So now Africans and Caribbeans are calling Black Americans xenophobic once again for not approving of the Essence Festival because they co-opted it, or a person that represents them co-opted it and only prioritized African heritage and lineage, which that's not what Essence Festival was all about in the first place. But yet again, that's just another thing of people basically over-centering themselves in what we created and what we cultivated. You feel me? Calling us xenophobic, saying that we don't appreciate shit, but it's completely okay for them to say whatever the hell they want 365 days out of the year about Black Americans. People crying on the internet. I think I seen somebody on live getting mad because it's actually an African was saying that, hey, Black Americans are one of the most successful Black ethnic groups in the world. And then you got the Caribbeans being mad like, that's not a fact, that's not a fact. Yes, that's a fucking fact, okay? If that wasn't a fact, you wouldn't have people from all these developing countries mass migrating to the United States. The number one black ethnic group in the United States is Black Americans in the country where they're from. We are from the United States, and we make up the majority of black people in this country. And we are an ethnic group from the Western world, all right? So that means that our dollar stretches far beyond any other developing country. So we are one of the most successful black ethnic groups in the world. That is a fucking fact, and people need to get the fuck over it. I'd rather you ignore that than to say that it's not true. Y'all ignore everything else, but don't dare say that that's not fucking true. You feel me? My people didn't fuck with the Essence Festival. Get the fuck over it, G. It is what it is.
Essence Festival. I'm a first-gen Nigerian-American. Should we talk about it? I'm going to get dragged for some takes later, so let me start with what I think most of us align on. I worked or attempted to work with Caroline Wanga for a large corporate activation for Essence, and I have to say, I don't think she's doing a great job. That's the truth. That's my truth. On top of that, I'm only going off of the clips I see on my For You page, but if Essence really did have like a Jollof versus Jambalaya competition, what? And I completely understand the frustration if it truly felt more focused on the African diaspora than like Black American culture and celebrating the history of jazz and Black American culture, funk, soul, R&B, entrepreneurship, and all the things. I was even a little frustrated to see what it costs these days for a small business to have a booth at the convention center. It's just out of control. Heard the same thing about Afrotech. That's how conferences work. South by Southwest is now a tech bro conference. It really doesn't have anything to do with music. I grew up in Austin. It was a very different festival back in the day. You know, that's how things work, okay? Now to the parts that y'all might drag me. So the sentiments like, give Essence back to Black people. These Africans bought it and took it over. Essence was owned by white people before that. So there's that. Then it's like, these Africans and Caribbeans don't understand our culture. The iconic editor-in-chief of Essence that is responsible for all the things you love was Caribbean. Susan Taylor's Caribbean. And like, so the feedback is, well, she grew up in the culture. She understands Black American culture. I completely agree with that. But then y'all have been dragging me on here because I'm a first-generation Nigerian-American whose parents came here during the Civil Rights era to attend Spelman and HBCU and Georgia Tech. So they were in Atlanta, Georgia, okay, in the middle of the Civil Rights era. Before then, when they were in high school, they met Malcolm X and marched for civil rights. Did y'all know that happened? I was shook too. I did not know that. The receipts are receding. You can see that Malcolm X went and spread the truth of what's going on in America, and Africans marched with him. I won't disregard a sentiment that some, not all, some Africans come here thinking, Black people had all the opportunity, and so I feel like we are better because we are more successful. I understand that there are a lot of nuance to the Black American experience. My parents understood that. My aunts and uncles understood that. So it's tough for me to continue to see the comments about how trash we are as Africans. Diaspora wars are rooted in white supremacy, y'all. Remember how beautiful it was when Ryan Coogler created an entire African nation that took us to a place of finally uniting the entire diaspora? Remember that when y'all were wearing dashikis to the movie theater? It was beautiful. Caroline not doing a great job doesn't translate into the entire African diaspora trying to erase Black American culture. I mean, y'all love Burna Boy. Y'all been in Nigeria every December, but that's not the point. That's not the point. I love and respect Black American culture. It is different. It is distinct from African culture, okay? What this community has been able to build when you were ripped away and given nothing is magical. Blackness is the earth, and the divisiveness is just doing such a disservice to our divine nature. Okay, thank you. Love you. Bye.
Their plans. Stephanie Mills writing a letter to Essence was not on my bingo card. Let's be clear, we know who she was really writing it to. Okay? Stephanie Mills wrote an open letter to Essence Fest of Culture 2025. You can pause to read. Basically, she wrote a letter to give her feedback. She said even though she was grateful for the opportunity, there were a lot of production issues that impacted her performance and the artist experience as a whole. She said there were organizational shortcomings. The scheduling and time management were severely lacking. This is what I call an educated read, okay? Creating a chaotic and stressful environment backstage. This disorganization cascaded onto the stage, impacting the flow of the event and ultimately diminishing the quality of the performance. I noticed this with the clips I saw on TikTok with the large gaps of time between each performer. It caused the artist's set time to be delayed by like hours, especially Lauryn Hill. Operational issues not only ruined the artist's performance, but just the audience experience. She said the level of professionalism she witnessed just fell short, especially coming from Essence, who had year after year a high regarded festival. Basically, do better in order for these festivals to run smoothly. Lastly, she said, I sincerely hope that my feedback will be taken seriously and utilized to address these significant concerns, ensuring that a vastly improved experience for both artists and attendees in the years to come. Respectfully, Stephanie Mills. At this point, bring Susan Taylor back, because a lot of people think when you hire someone that looks like us, they're going to represent us. They do not. They represent the other people in Orange America. They are the ones that are carrying out their plans. They are not carrying out the plans to better our people. Do y'all not realize sometimes some people are doing these things on purpose to ruin our brands, to ruin our company, because they're getting a check to do so? I don't trust this woman as far as I can throw her. What person in their right mind will align themselves with brands that ruin us? They're not for us. People that are not going to support. Well, some people did. Okay. This year should have been back to the basics. What makes Essence great? The culture. What does New Orleans have? The culture. You should have been talking and repairing relationships and bridges that have been burned in the past to bring back that family vibe we had known Essence Fest to have. And Stephanie Mills had to take time out of her day to give y'all feedback. She should have just been able to perform, collect her check, and leave. But she's just as embarrassed as we are. Thoughts? Stephanie Mills writing a letter.
Now let's talk about Essence Fest. Who's surprised? Who's surprised about the fail of Essence Fest 2025? Okay? There's a bunch of red flags. We know that. One, you still got Target on there. So basically, you're ignoring what's going on with Black Americans when it comes to Target. That's one. Two, you decided to, we're going to focus on African-American culture. No, Black American culture. You ignore everything that's going on with Black Americans, period. That's flag 2. Okay? Yeah. 3, where's all the Black influencers and Black American influencers and content creators and all the people that built Essence over the decades that they've been out? Huh? You ignored that. So who's surprised? Nobody. At all. Then I heard the gaslighting. Oh, a lot of people are not spending money. What? Have you seen the concerts? They're full. They just didn't spend money with Essence. Okay? Essence chose to ignore what Black Americans are going through. So, of course, the stadiums were empty. Of course, they should be. So, yeah, who's surprised? All right. Good day.
What happened to Black American heritage at Essence Fest? So it's night 1 or night 2, and there is a lot of complaints coming through, and the common consensus is the culture has shifted. It no longer feels like us. And honestly, that makes sense because the people in charge now do not value Black heritage. Essence Fest used to be known as the Cookout. It was created in 1995, created to center Black American heritage, the music, fashion, beauty, political power. It was basically like the family reunion created by Black people for Black people. Soul food, a little gospel, a little trap, NOLA. It was a culture that you felt deep in your chest. But now, not so much. It feels somewhat curated, corporatized, and it no longer feels like it centers us. The current CEO of Essence is a former DEI executive for Target. So the very thing that Black Americans are protesting, she was the center of, and now she's the center, well, she's the head, the CEO of Essence. Upon more research, I found out that she is originally from Kenya and she moved to the US when she was about 10 years old. The point of me bringing that up is she doesn't seem like she values Black American heritage, because if she did care, the festival will still reflect the very people it was built for. And seeing as though that's not the case, I can't help but think that she does not value Black American heritage. Instead, it's become a space that uplifts everyone else aside from Black American heritage. That shift is starting to feel really intentional. Local Black vendors are being pushed out. Local creators and influencers are overlooked completely, all while being the very representation that is needed for Black-centered heritage in the South. It doesn't make any sense to me. It has slowly become a place that has been curated for optics and not community. This very thing is exactly what I was talking about in my previous videos when I asked the question, where are the Black American beauty creators? The answer is, we're being pushed out of the very spaces created and centered for us. And not just pushed out of these spaces like Essence Fest, but panels, brand deals, sponsorships, media. And all of this didn't happen by accident. It has happened through leadership, branding pivots, and sponsorship deals that prioritize global Blackness. Global Blackness, a movement that often leaves out the specific culture and heritage of Black Americans. And when brands talk about inclusion but sideline the very creators who made the culture, we should all be asking, if Essence no longer feels like us, who is it for?
Listen, I don't mess with Diaspora Wars because I love Black people. I love all Black people. And I love Black cultures. But let's be, like, for real. People really, in the diaspora, was really shitting on Black Americans. For whatever reason, they tried to say we didn't have culture. They've been saying it for years. The anti-Blackness when it came to Black Americans was high. I saw it. I just didn't comment on it because I don't want to participate in Diaspora Wars. But I didn't know that they were really taking that seriously. I didn't know that they believed it. I thought they were just trolling Black people. But Essence Fest really showed them that we do have culture, didn't it? Because we didn't show up. And the fact that you took a festival that has traditionally been known as Black American culture, you cannot deny it. I guess you tried. You tried it. Because that's Black American culture through and through. It was even in the movie Girls Trip. What did y'all think that was? And now you're going to try to do Essence Fest. That's why I want nobody there. Talk about some, what was it? Jollof rice competition? Are you serious? Like, are we being for real right now? I'm just happy that in this moment, people are really starting to wake up to the reality that is Black American culture. Between Black Americans sticking together and not going out and fighting ICE, and Black Americans not showing up for SFS when our culture isn't represented. Y'all finding out, ain't you? I'm serious. This, and I'm glad that you are finding out. Because let's just put this to bed. Let's put it to rest that Black Americans don't have culture. Because now you're finding out. When we don't show up, all of a sudden, it's where the Black Americans. I thought we didn't have culture. Why are you worried about us? And this is my thing. Y'all never apologize. You just expect us to come. You think we forgot about the things you said about us? I don't understand why people don't come back to us, Latinos included, and say, you know what? There is anti-Blackness. We were talking about you. And you know what? Now we recognize the error of our ways. We're sorry and we need your help. No, you don't do that. You just expect us to do it. And then when we don't do it, you say we're next. Okay, let's find out.
Now, y'all know that I love everything Black peopling, okay? It is my favorite genre. A lot of y'all are talking about what did or did not happen at Essence in your absence, but I was there, so let me give you the tea. Now, y'all know that I love everything Black peopling, okay? It is my favorite genre, and Essence Fest has always been a celebration of all the blackity black stuff that we do in the culture. It is for us, by us, and I am here for it. I had a wonderful time. It was less intimidating than last year because I had a plan, and the plan was not to overwhelm myself. yourself. That is key. If you ever go, make sure that you plan to have fun, you plan to be involved, but you also plan to rest, because there's so much stuff going on. But I had such a great time. Shout out to the whole Essence team for continuing to work hard to bring Black excellence to the forefront and give us something to do in the great city of New Orleans. I can't do the accent, so I'm not even going to try. Now, before I go, I want to address something really quickly, because are there going to be issues when you are putting on a huge event? Yes. It does not matter if it's us. It doesn't matter where it is, what kind of industry it is. There will be hiccups, because that is life. It is messy. Things happen, and you pivot, you adjust. I really want to caution us to be careful about how we talk about things. There is always this big push for supporting Black businesses and supporting our own. But then if stuff is not exactly the way that we want it to be, if it doesn't go off perfectly, then we dragging everybody. Now, does that mean that we don't hold people accountable? No. Not at all. But we have to do it in love. We have to do it in a way that uplifts instead of tears down. Otherwise, we are left with more of the same that we claim we didn't want in the first place. Instead of viciously criticizing, maybe we come up with some solutions. Like maybe Essence needs to be longer, more like South by Southwest. Or maybe we need to have a dual stage situation where as soon as one goes off, the other one is already set up. And for those of us complaining about advertisements, y'all, they have to make money to pay for all the things that they're doing. They got the Superdome, they got the convention center. People have paid vendor fees so that they could be a part and expand their businesses. Again, if we want to keep supporting Black business, we have to support Black business. And that means sitting through a commercial break, not necessarily for an hour, but it does mean having some commercials so that we can continue to build these programs that we say we want. All right. I had a great time. I can't wait until next year. And your girl is going to be manifesting a speaking opportunity or some type of something. I need to be hosting something. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see Chris do off the green screen at Essence next year. I hope you've enjoyed day 256 of Chris Off the Green Screen, that is. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Love you. Bye. A lot of y'all
is disrespecting our culture because y'all don't even like us. Y'all have absolutely no respect for Americans. When we wanted to be African, y'all reminded us over and over again how we're not as good as y'all. We don't know where we come from. We have a white man's last name. We're ratchet. We're ghetto. So let us be ratchet and ghetto in peace. If I wanted jollof rice, I'll go to an African convention. But nothing about Africa is even interesting to me. I don't want to dress like y'all. I don't want to dance to y'all music. I don't want to buy your oils or your mishwak sticks. I don't want y'all jealousy braiding my hair, throwing curses into my scalp. This is America. I'd much rather learn slave history. Because at Essence Fest, we should be having a battle over the best fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. I don't know. So just like you're proud of female circumcision, we're proud of hip-hop.
If you're African American, to the front, I got something to say. So last year, Kaisa and I made a video about African Americans saying that y'all are just Black, y'all got no culture, y'all not Jamaican, y'all not Trini, y'all not Cuban, y'all just Black American. And that video resurfaced this year as he was just at the BET Award, Black Entertainment Television. Right now, a lot of African Americans are upset by that, and here's what I have to say as a Haitian girl. I was born and raised in Haiti. I moved here when I was 11. I remember from my earliest days wanting to be an American girly. No, it wasn't the white. It was definitely the Black. When I finally moved to America at 11, I was just like a kid in a candy store. One thing I noticed in school, the school that I went to in Georgia, all the African American kids were so cool. Not only were they so cool, but they weren't to be fucked with. I owe a large amount of the confidence to stand up for myself from African Americans. The African Americans didn't let nobody bully them, do you understand? And they gave me the cojones to stand up for myself. Not only that, but I also thought that the way that they dressed, the way that they did their hair was just so different and so beautiful. I wanted to do my hair like that. Hold on. I wanted to dress like an African American too. Because let's not act like it's not a thing. It is. And when I learned English, I discovered AAVE from Standard English, which that's another video for another day. Because I learned Standard English and then I got thrown in the hood and people were saying things like finna. I'm like, what the fuck? Finna? But it was instant for me. I sound stupid as fuck talking in AAVE. But the people who do it, y'all just made English sound sexy. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I'm finna go to the store. I'm not American, so my AAVE don't AAVE. I can literally stand there and listen to a Black American talk all day, especially when they're going off. I don't give a fuck about shit. Like, yes, sis, you tell them. Put belt to ass. And then rhythm and fucking fucking blues. Come on now. And I am so ashamed to say this, but because I spent a lot of my time wanting to be a part of American culture, I grew to like American music more than I did my own, and I'm so ashamed to say it. Now it's like a little bit more evened out, but I love rap. I be listening to Gunman Tune, I listen to Sexy Red, I listen to Mariah Carey during Christmas, even the vagabond stuff, like I don't know. Like the things that people consider ghetto or ratchet, I'm just like I don't know, I love the ghetto shit. I love me my unapologetically Black people. And also soul food, that should honestly speak for itself. African Americans created and carried the culture in America. And not only have they done that successfully, but they went fucking viral doing it. I be watching Young, Famous, and African, and I be like, yo, with the budget that y'all have, there's no way y'all wigs is still looking like this in 2025. Somebody get an American on set. I don't feel the same way as Kai as a fellow Caribbean girly. A lot of us don't feel like that. I really wanted to take this time to big up my African American as I'm sitting here in Black people's America. I don't think my existence here would be possible if it wasn't for all the work that you guys and your ancestors have been doing. So hats off to my African Americans. Anyway, be kind to one another from your favorite Haitian homegirl.
Good morning, TikTok. We're back home. I'm up early. But I just wanted to come on here just for a brief moment, perhaps, to talk about the people that talk about the people. That's crazy to me. I don't typically come on here to talk about anybody. I just come on here to try to be funny, talk about shit that's running through my head. But this leafy Mustafa head mofo that I refuse to block because I don't block anybody, and I always want to know what people be talking about. But that Mustafa mofo was talking about the Essence Festival, and you know that it's changing. As an organizer, I am not an organizer. I have organized some shit, but that is not my profession. I'm also a former business owner of many. But what I wanted to talk about was, if it's my shit, if I'm the organizer, if I'm the orchestrator of anything, if I want to throw a party in my backyard, I get to decide what it looks like. I get to decide who's invited. I get to decide the context, the content, not spectators from afar, not anyone that has nothing to do with it, hadn't put any resources in it, just sitting back looking for shit to criticize, to be relevant. That leafy head Mustafa looking mofo was talking about various different diasporas, and that the Essence Festival is no longer about Black people. Want to know why there were Caribbean folk at the Essence Festival? Don't you realize that as descendants of Africa, mofo, people that was put on a slave ship to bring themselves over here, to find themselves over here, living a life that they didn't ask for, were not accustomed for? Do you use your imagination? I like to think and believe in the possibilities. And just perhaps, a few of those folk as coming from Africa, coming over here to these here United States to be enslaved, some of them got off of that ship. They found their way. I would like to believe that. And somehow they found their way in Jamaica, in the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying? They found themselves in other nations, in other parts of the world where they can set up camp, become a people. But to exclude anybody of color, Black people, I don't care your origin. What gives you the right, mofo? What gives you the right to tell Essence Fest who to have on their program? What sidebars to have? Actually, the whole damn thing was called Essence of Culture, Essence Fest of Culture. People of Caribbean people, African folk, all the people that you're trying to exclude from this Essence Festival because they're not, American Black? Fuck, I don't get that. How in the hell can you tell an organization, a magazine, a whole damn entity, who they can have and who they cannot have? Go sit your stupid ass, clown, rabbit ass down. grow some balls. Motherfucker, I hate that nigga. Damn. I know that's not what I wanted to say, because I don't care to come on here and talk about anybody. But that just set me off wrong. And I saw some people in his comments setting his ass straight, too. Letting him know what the origin of said events and said delicacies are born out of, or spawn out of. Small-minded people only want to be around small-minded people. You know how much we can learn from a group of people? Sit your ass down somewhere. Matter of fact, TikTok, shut that shit down. Man, but anyway, Essence Festival was a great event. I'm excited about it. That's my second time going. Just let people live. Live and let live. Damn it.
You know, not that I feel like it's any of my black ass business outside of it being my black ass business, but, you know, you hear stuff like what's going on with the whole Essence Festival and it failing or flopping this year because they wanted to make it more centered towards like actual Pan-Africanism instead of AAVE or American black culture. And I find it fun because at the same time, you see this, like, I don't want to call it subvert, let's call it overt, this rallying call for like black Americans to like get up and rally behind our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, especially when it comes to like them trying to deport Haitians and any other migrants who came over here within the African diaspora seeking a better life, and now they're also on that perceived chopping block, you know, with like Hispanic migrants. And you know, it just reminds me when I was a kid and when I was in high school. This was like around 2010, 2011. And I remember being at this event where I was like on my way. I was in the mall. I was getting off work because I used to work at this mall in Dearborn in Detroit. And there was like this ball of this gala going on, you know, where there were a lot of women, black women, right, dressed in African garb attire. And I'm assuming it was an African wedding now that I look back on it in hindsight. But I mean, I just thought it was so beautiful. It was like one of the first times I ever seen anything like that. And I remember just staring at them like, oh my God, I thought their dresses were so beautiful. Hairdresses were so beautiful. It was like the first time I had actually really experienced it. I was like, God, like, you know, what was that, 16, 17? And I was in love. I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And I remember them giving me the dirtiest look. Like I was, and it confused the fuck out of me because I'm like, no, we the same motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand it. But looking back on it now, a lot of African-centric cultures come over here and they use the guise of, you know, us being skin folk to like assimilate into the diaspora, but then again also come over here with this association that they're better than us, or like that we're beneath them. And you really see it. It's kind of like how Arabs in certain communities treat blacks, especially in Detroit. Not saying all of them, but a good portion of them look down. You hear me? I'm talking nose up. And you be like, motherfucker, aren't you experiencing the same shit we experiencing? But anyway, it just, then you see it with that Essence Festival organizer saying that they were more so focusing on, you know, African culture with little semblance to Black American culture, and are wondering why the numbers aren't turning out. And I just feel like it's like the writing on the wall where, you know, people keep trying to replace us. They get in close enough to learn us, study us, to even try to imitate us. It's like destiny swapping. But then we'll swoop, you know what I'm saying, and push us to the side like we don't matter. And it just reminds me of this saying where someone was saying, like, you got to be careful who you hang around, because people will hang around you long enough, especially when you got the juice, and start to think it's them. You know what I'm saying? Whole time it's you. whole time it's the black culture, American black culture with the juice, with the star, with the energy, with the light. And everybody coming over here to hang out with us, and we accepting everybody in. And after a while, they start to think it's them when it's really us. And you see it, case in point, look at the Essence Festival. Look at all of this shit, you know what I'm saying? The hate we get from everybody in a very, like, real slight way. It's almost enough to make you think you're crazy if you don't acknowledge it, but it's there. And shit flops. Look at the rap industry. Look outside of drill. I mean, even with drill, it just across every industry there is, somebody black American will make it hot because that shit is within us, not on us. And then people will come in through admiration, and that admiration will turn sour because they realize that it's something that we come with that is uniquely within us, and that they can't take it, they can only imitate it, and then that imitation will destroy it because of its unauthenticity. And then boom, look at it now. I just find it so funny. Yeah, that was it. I just thought it was funny.
I guess the point I was making too is like, it reminds me of they hate us because they ain't us. Like, nobody's gonna come on and awkwardly admit that, you know, there's some animosity towards us, or they just don't like us because they can't be us, or just take accountability in how they're behaving. They're just gonna, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, that's not true. Oh, blah, 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 blah. But time and time again, we see Africans coming over here saying, oh, black Americans don't have any culture, or oh, blah, 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 or we need, or, you know, just denying every semblance of identity that we claim for ourselves, even though we've been here for the better half of 400 to 600 years. I would argue longer than that, but that's neither here nor there. Technicality, semantics, and all that bullshit. But it just reminds me, man, they hate us because they ain't us.
There is nothing wrong with people saying that the Essence Festival needs to stay focused on representing and being the essence and the culture of the African-American community. And the reason I say that is that as an African person, I have been looking forward to going to the Essence Festival because of how I've seen it represented historically, meaning really empowering, really showcasing African-American culture, not African, not Afro-Caribbean, not Caribbean, none of that, not Haitian, not any other black community, simply because that is the goal of that festival. That is the goal of the Essence Festival, is to showcase, to represent African-American culture, because for so long it hadn't been, and that's why it was created. So for people to come on here and complain that people are complaining that they're no longer seeing that essence, the African-Americanness represented in it, that makes no sense. They're right to feel that way. And another thing is that we don't need to have African culture represented, or Haitian culture or Caribbean culture represented at the Essence Festival. It's not necessary. There are already so many other festivals and cultures that are showcasing all these other communities. So the uniqueness of all of those events are that you showcase a specific part of the diaspora. So there is absolutely no need to take another event and make it all about all these other communities, because it dilutes it. It takes away from it. It takes away from the uniqueness. So if people are complaining about that, please hear them. Please listen, because the goal of Essence is to showcase one particular thing. So why do we feel that it needs to showcase everything else? We don't need to. This is not why not me? Why not me? That is so ridiculous. We're all grown up. We're all adults. We can appreciate nuance. We can appreciate the fact that this certain event is dedicated to Nigerian community. Great. You go there, you represent, you support Nigerian community. This certain event is dedicated to African American community. You go there, you support them. But at what point do we need to complain that, oh, I don't see myself in this? Oh, why do I? No, it makes no sense, because you absolutely take away from the purpose and uniqueness of something. So we need to start asking ourselves why. And another thing that I've been seeing going on around online about this discourse is who is actually at the head of this organization's Essence, and how it's now more Africans, and that's why the African American community is not being represented in a way that it should be. And two things can be true, right? It could be that, yes, because these leaders are Africans, they're now looking at it from their own lens, and they haven't taken the time to really showcase, to understand why this is so important to the African American community. And another thing could be that you can have leaders that are not from a specific country represent the that country, right? Meaning that they could be more so good at strategic organization, right? Not everyone can be good at strategic and planning event. You can have an event planner or that is African doing essence culture, but what that leader needs to do is make sure that the people that are being brought in, the people that are planning and organizing this event really understands the culture. These are the people advising them, right? So I think that may be what is lacking there, is that you have someone who is essentially Kenyan American that is running Essence, or they have other people in the leadership of Essence that are Africans, but they are forgetting to bring in real community and culture focused people from the African American community to guide them and advise them on how this really should be done, so that they continue to showcase African American community and culture within that event. So I think that yes, you can have people that lead from different backgrounds, but those people need to maintain the why of that organization, the perspective. And if they don't know how, they need to strongly, and actually not that if they don't, they need to bring in people who know how. And then another thing I wanted to add to this discourse is that, like, a lot of people will say, well, I was born in the U.S., although I'm from this country, I'm now African American, or maybe one of your parents is, and that is okay. There are so many events in the U.S. that are just Caribbean, that are just African, that are just this. So you can go to all of those and still see yourself represented. It doesn't mean that we need to take one event and dilute it, right? And I am someone that has been looking forward to go to the Essence Festival, and if I find out that it's just another, Jollof and a Davido event, which I'm obsessed with Davido, by the way, I'm going to his concert, I will not go, because I already see that in so many other things. So why should I go to that? That takes away from it. It takes away from the uniqueness of the why. If everywhere I go, we're all trying to do the same thing over and over, it doesn't make sense. And then another thing that I noticed, and I may be wrong, maybe this is based on my FYP, but I've noticed that it's a lot of African influencers, right? So I think that's what a lot of people may be seeing. They're like, well, where are the African American influencers? And that's something I've seen on my end. And again, it could be that I mostly follow African influencers. And I do follow a good amount of African American influencers, but I see that there are a lot more of them at the Essence Festival, and that's who I'm picking up. And again, I think it just takes away from the why, and it takes away from why people don't want to go to it anymore, because they're trying to go there not to see a Jollof and Gumbo battle. They're trying to go there to really feel the culture, right, from an African American standpoint, and that's okay. We all don't have to be represented at everything. I think it's so ridiculous that we feel like, oh, everyone has to be showcased. I don't understand why people say that. It's kind of elementary in a way. Guys, there is nothing wrong with people